character, and you can actually increase the selection size that you're working with by holding down Shift and left click and dragging. And what that is going to do is it's going to actually add to our selection. I'm going to press this again and I will highlight over both. And what that is going to do is it's going to access the selection size that you're working with by holding down Shift and left click. So on the second frame, this is going to be our breathing in motion where our character gains a little bit of height and moves his arms slightly out. So I'm going to grab this entire head and the neck of our character, and you can actually increase the selection size that you're working with by holding down Shift and left click and dragging. And what that is going to do is it's going to actually add to our selection. I'm going to press this again and I will highlight over.
God damn it. I swear to God. I swear to fucking God. I swear to fucking.
Both arms of our character, and I'm just going to working with by holding down Shift and left and move is I'm kind of trying to up 1 pixel. Now this adds an entire over both arms. Left click and drag the neck of our character, breathing in motion where our character gains a little bit of height and moves his arms slightly out. So I'm going to grab this entire head and the neck of our character, and you can actually increase the selection size that you're working with by holding down Shift and left click and dragging. And what that is going to do is it's going to actually add to our selection. I'm going to press this again and I will highlight. And what that is going to do is it's going to actually add to our selection. I'm going to press this again and I will highlight over both arms of our character. And I'm just going to move this entire image up 1 pixel. Now this adds an entire pixel height to our image, which will exaggerate our character's breathing motion slightly. However, once we've actually filled in the rest of the space, this will look a lot more appropriate to a character actually taking a breath in and breathing out. Now I'm going to grab this front hand and I'm going to move it 1 pixel to the left. And I'll do the same thing with the back hand and move it 1 pixel to the right. So once we have that in place, we have the actual positioning of our end product. Clearly, there is still a lot going on here, but we're just trying to get the initial concept down before we begin actually filling in the rest of our image. Now what I'll do is I'm going to come down to this 4th frame here, and we're going to do... There's still a lot going on here, but we're just trying to get the initial concept down before we begin actually filling in the rest of our image. Now what I'll do is I'm going to come down to this 4th frame here, and we're going to do a little bit of the opposite. So what I'll do is I will grab the head again, just selecting the entire scarf area by Shift dragging this as well. Now I'm going to move this 1 pixel down and 1 pixel to the right. The reason that I'm moving this in this way is I'm kind of trying to create the opposite effect of the breathing in when I'm creating the breathing out motion. Now, as far as the hands are concerned, we don't want as much movement happening in this frame. So what I'll do is I will select the entire back hand except for the pixels closest to the body and shift the entire image left 1 over so that we're actually cutting off more of the hand as it's appearing behind the torso and the legs of the character. Let's do the exact same thing, but with the other front hand and move the entire hand in 1 as well. So there is a lot of overlapping pixels that distort our image. However, if we were to play this animation right now, we actually have something that kind of resembles our end result. Now, how do we get from this unfinished prototype of an animation
my fucking lord. Shade later.
To an actual finished animation. So all I want to do is wherever we have a piece of the body that we need to fill in, I'll start with the basic color that is needed. So I'm going to use this shadow color and just highlight all the way around wherever I see we need some kind of skin color, and I'll do the same thing for all of the other material types. Now we don't need this blue pigment. pixel here, as it did get moved over from the selection tool. So I'm just going to erase that. And finally, I will finish off this glove piece. I do think we need slightly more of the arm showing, so I'm going to extend this entire canvas out on a diagonal line. Now quickly, I will just finish off the outline. And our drawing should look something like this. There are a few spots that we could highlight. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight the top half of this image, and I will actually extend the torso up a full frame entirely, and just making sure that we have no overlap from the arm to the chest. We're just about done with this frame. The last thing I'll do is I'm going to come back to my lighter skin color, and I just want to highlight one more pixel, as we want to show that the shoulder is protruding out and away from the body. So there we have our most complicated frame of filling in the excess space. But basically, if we go back to the first frame, we'll notice that we're keeping a lot of the rules the same. You'll notice that the light piece of the front arm compared to the torso has no overlapping lighter pixels, and so returning back to the second frame, we'll see that we have the same effect. We have the dark pixels separating the light part of the torso and the front arm. It's rules like this that you'll have to find throughout your animation that you want to keep consistent to keep a proper proportioned image. Now, personally, I do think that this hand looks as if it is a little bit too large, so I'm actually going to extend the outline 1 pixel to keep this circular proportion to the hand. The arm could use a little bit more space as well, so now it's replicating a lot more of what the front arm looks like as well. Now, as I said before, the third frame is totally fine as we're coming back to our original state. But if we move to the fourth frame, we'll notice that again, we do have some of these overlapping pixels that I talked about before. And so again, one of my biggest rules is I don't want the light from the front arm to be in contact with the light in the torso. So I will just dot a pixel in front of the front arm. So I'm actually going to extend the front arm entirely over the actual glove component of the arm. To me, this looks pretty good. However, if we play the animation, something that we can see that is missing is there is absolutely no movement going on in the legs on our idle state. Normally, this is fine because we don't really want to move around the position of our legs, as we don't want our character to seem as if they are changing their position if you're using this for something like a video game. So if we pause the animation, all we have to do is on this fourth frame, we can just slightly change the actual position of our leg by quite literally just adding 1 pixel to our knee and grabbing our dark pixels and getting rid of some of the highlight to this area. Now, because our hand is also in front of a lot of the pan.
Hold on.
we can actually get rid of this pixel as well to just slightly change up our silhouette so we have more opportunity of changing around our sprite image. Now, if I play this animation, we can see that we have a little bit of movement in our leg, and honestly, that is good enough to symbolize our legs slightly swaying. And there we go. That is a finished idle animation. Now, what I would like you to do is to attempt today's challenge. So the challenge of today is going to be actually picking another character to animate an idle cycle to symbolize our legs slightly swaying.
Want to check out what I did? This kind of animation.
That's cool.
What?
Yeah. You want this?
No, not really.
You don't? Okay, I'll put it back in the fridge.
God damn it. Fuck.
And there we go. That is a finished idle animation. Now, what
Take out. Take out.
I would like you to do
want that. I want a cheeky. I want to get a cheeky. Oh, by the white door. Oh, by the white dark, I made an animation. By the dark. Dark. Wanna see? Let's see. Oh, by the What toilet cleaning?